Hey guys, welcome back to Wentworth Life, the channel that talks all things Wentworth. You know the score by now. If you're new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button right now for all future updates. All my social media links are underneath this video, and if you stick around until the end of this video, I will be responding to some of your comments from my previous videos. So it's less than a week until Wentworth the final sentence begins, and I tell you what guys, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I mean, I am really excited to see what happens, but it's just going to be sad because it is the beginning of the end now. Anyway, I have recently just finished watching Wentworth Unlocked, the documentary with Pamela Rabe hosting. It was absolutely fantastic, and I'm not gonna lie, I had a little tear in my eye by the end because some of the cast were getting emotional saying goodbye to their characters. Now, through this 1 hour long Wentworth special, we got a lot of previews of what's to come this year, and I've carefully gone through the whole documentary and screenshotted a load of scenes that got me very excited. There were even some screenshots where I noticed a few things that I didn't see when I was watching it, so I was like, wow, things are really kicking off this year. But before we go through all these screenshots together, there was another new trailer which I posted to this channel earlier on today. Now it's only a short trailer, but it did show some really exciting things that we haven't seen before, so let's quickly talk about this. So the trailer starts off with Lou saying to Rita, "I'll take you down." I mean, like, wow, these two are definitely going to war this season. I think Rita is definitely going to be Lou's biggest problem, because in this next part of the trailer, we can see Lou and Rita having some sort of fight, or maybe just a bit of a scuffle in the yard, and they are being pulled apart by officers. But if you look in the background, you can see Mari bent over on the bench. So either Mari has tried to step in and help Rita, or this is Rita protecting Mari. Either way, it's pretty interesting. Then, in this next part of the trailer, Rita and Lou are fighting again in a completely different scene, and they are both in one of the units, and Rita throws Lou over a table. Like, Lou literally rolls over this table as if Rita has just thrown her off there like a rag doll. It looks absolutely insane, but like I just said a moment ago, I think Rita is going to be Lou's biggest thorn in her side this year. I think when the new season begins, Lou will take over as top dog with all her crew, and Lou will just start making Boomer's life hell and Ali's life hell and Ruby's, but then Rita will come back and is going to throw a big spanner in the works for Lou Kelly. I think these two are going to have some great scenes together, and if you guys remember from one of my previous videos, Leah Purcell, Kate Box and Pamela Rabe were all involved in stunt scenes just before COVID caused its first lockdown in Australia. So I definitely think that these stunt scenes are 100% going to involve these types of fights. I mean, look at Lou rolling over that table. It's bloody fantastic. I cannot wait to see this full fight. We then have Joan pushing that panic button again, which we saw in the previous trailer or in another photo, and then we see Ali alone in her unit looking a little worried. We then have someone being grabbed and attacked in the distance, and I think it might be Mari. I mean, it's a little bit out of focus because the camera is actually more focused on a mobile phone in someone's pocket. Now, I think it's probably Lou Kelly going by the tattoos, but I could be wrong. But Michelle, if you're watching, maybe you will know if this is Lou or not, so leave me a comment below. We then have this scene where Lou's declaring herself top dog, and I believe this is going to happen in episode 2. We then have Boomer and Ruby bursting into the shower block on Judy, who is armed with a shiv. Now when they burst in, Judy looks totally shocked. So like, I think Judy might have been trying to maybe kill Ali again, I'm not too sure, but she was definitely about to do something with that shiv. Ali is then seen playing cards in her unit, and she looks up at the camera. I think Ali is going to have her own secret agenda this year. I mean, wouldn't it be great if Ali does get feeling back in her legs again and is able to walk, but doesn't tell anyone, and Ali will then carry on playing the paralyzed card, only for her to later on jump out of her chair and kill Judy by surprise. That would be so brilliant. We then have a scene of a trailer where it looks like the police have found that gun that Rita threw into the lake last season, so I think Rita is going to realise that there is no getting out of this one, and she is definitely looking at a long stretch. This might give Rita the push to fight for top dog to look after herself and the rest of the women. We then have Lou being dragged into the slot, and Lou is shouting, "Don't lock me in here." Now the more I look at this, I'm thinking maybe is Lou being dragged into the psych unit? I can't really tell. I may have to go back to a few older seasons and have a dig around, but maybe this is Lou being taken into the psych ward after Reb's death, and this is maybe why Lou is shouting, "Do not lock me in here." We then have Vera looking at something with a worried expression on her face. This looks like she is in the CCTV room and she is watching some footage, and I think whatever she's watching, something huge is going down. We then have Boomer screaming while she's being dragged away by the officers. Then we have Anne Reynolds sitting in her car in the dead of night somewhere. I'm not sure what's happening here, but I definitely think there might be a shocking secret about Anne Reynolds that we just don't know about yet, and there's definitely going to be a twist. Just before the trailer cuts off, we hear Mr. Jackson saying to Vera, "Did you see this coming?" So what could this be about? I'm thinking it's probably Ferguson related, or maybe it's to do with a certain character's death or something like that. It's all very exciting, but I think definitely my favourite part of this whole trailer was Rita throwing Lou over that table. I'm just so excited to see this full fight. Right then, so now it's time to move on to Wentworth Unlocked. So this is literally an hour of heaven. So I've gone through and taken quite a few screenshots that I want to talk about. Now, there could be some spoilers here, and one possible major death spoiler. So I'm just giving you this as a bit of a warning, because in one of these screenshots we do see a certain character on the ground and pretty much looking like they're kind of dead. However, we could be wrong, and maybe this character is just very badly injured and knocked out, I'm not sure. But either way, it's quite a big revelation, so just be warned. Okay, so I wanted to start this off with all these nighttime screenshots that I have. There were a lot of different clips and behind the scenes footage that show us a few things. So we can see here that there are police all around the prison, and there is also Linda Miles. There is also an ambulance, and I can't make out who that is, but it looks like someone in teal is about to be taken to hospital. If you look at the side of the ambulance, you can see somebody in a stretcher, somebody in teal, but I just cannot make out who it is. In this next part, we see director of photography Daryl Martin talking, but what was interesting is behind him where he's talking, there are lights flashing all over the place, and this happens quite a lot throughout the documentary while people are talking, because as a lot of them are talking, there's also filming going on. As you can see in this photo, there are blue lights flashing, indicating a huge event is unfolding. We then see some firemen. So we've seen police, an ambulance, and now firemen. So whatever's happening, it's going to be flipping massive. And if there is fire crew there, then there's definitely going to be some sort of explosion or fire or something which is going to tear Wentworth apart. We see more firemen in these photos as well in the background, as well as this police officer. But what's even more shocking is, look at Linda. She has been hurt. She seems to have some sort of bandage on the side of her face. But as the documentary went on, it did reveal more of Linda's injury. So not only does she have the bandage, but she also has a cut on her head. So is Linda injured because of an explosion, or is it going to be something else? Also, in another part of the nighttime shootings, we can see Rita, Ruby, and Boomer. So I'm hoping that this is an indication that they are going to make it all the way up until the final episode, and they are all going to be heavily used in these huge storylines that we can see unfolding. We also see Kate Box and Kate Jenkinson saying that they are currently filming the final scenes of Wentworth. So these big scenes with all the police and the fire crew, they are all going to happen in the very final episode. We also see more flashing lights in one of the units where character Ruby has just been filming. I definitely think the prison is going to go into chaos, with literally Wentworth going into like red alert, which will explain the red and yellow lights flashing throughout the prison. What I also managed to screenshot is Kate Atkinson behind the scenes, but you can see she's also got an injury to her face. So something is also going to happen to Vera's character too. Now this is your spoiler alert, but we seem to see another character injured. But as you can see, it's Mari Winter, and in some of these photos you can see blood on her hands. And in these photos, she's pretty much covered in blood. And then in this next photo, Mari Winter is on the floor, and I'm not going to lie guys, Mari could literally be dead at this point. This could be Mari's death scene. Either that or Mari is very badly injured and knocked out. I'm trying to work out where this scene is because all I can see is skips and bins in the background. Maybe this is a similar place to where Joan had killed Jess Warner way back in season 3 in one of those areas of the prison. Also, I'm thinking maybe Mr. Jackson finds Mari on the floor, as it looks like this might be part of the same scene that is being shot. Now, an amazing scene that was shown in this documentary was a scene where Lou and her crew are in the yard, and Lou is saying that there is a huge decision that needs to be made today. And she also says that this includes you too, Mari. Lou then says you're either with me and you're under my protection, or you're with the pig, aiming this at Boomer. And then one of Lou's crew members starts making pig impressions, and Boomer and Ali are looking at each other a little bit worried, and even Mari sitting in the background is looking nervous. After seeing this scene yesterday, I definitely think Mari wants to be on Boomer and Ali's team, but unfortunately Boomer and Ali, I just don't think they are strong enough at this stage against Lou and her crew. So I think Mari at this point is trying to sit on the fence, but you can clearly see Lou Kelly is trying to force everyone to pick a side. So I'm not sure if this scene is going to take place before or after Lou and Boomer's fight scene in the laundry, but I am a little bit nervous about this particular fight because Boomer and Lou both have shivs and these two pretty much hate each other, so I'm a little bit nervous about this one. There's also another scene where Lou blows Sheila a kiss, the kiss of death that everyone is calling it. Now I'm not sure really what's happening here, but I reckon it's probably just Lou trying to wind Sheila up. We also see Mari walking and watching this in the distance, and just as Mari approaches Joan, you can see something in Mari's hand. And to me, that looks like a shiv or some sort of weapon. We also see more of the moment where Judy goes to attack Lou in the yard. Now, it was revealed in an article recently that Judy does this because she wants to go into the slot, as Judy is very nervous about Ali coming back from the hospital. But Judy, she doesn't really do very much though, does she? Because Judy pretty much runs at Lou, and then Lou literally just moves away, and like Judy just sort of like falls over, and then look at Lou's face, like she's like proper smiling as if to say, what was that? Judy is no match for Lou Kelly. In another scene, we see Joan and Vera keeping watch on each other, and in another photo which I have had to light up, we can see Joan wearing smart clothes, which makes me think that this is her on her way to court or in the waiting area for her court hearing. Here we see someone approaching Joan's cell, and I've also had to brighten up this photo, so it looks like it's someone with curly hair. So this is probably either Rita Connors or possibly even Eve Wilder, and we will be talking about Eve Wilder in just a moment. In this photo we have Lou looking completely broken, and I think this will probably be, I don't know, maybe Mr. Jackson checking to see if Lou is okay after the death of Reb before Lou goes back to the women. We also have Lou looking at a mobile phone, so the photo from earlier that we saw of someone with a mobile phone must be Lou Kelly. So Lou must have got herself another mobile phone into the prison when the season returns, but what has Lou just read on this phone? Because Lou is looking rather alarmed in this scene. We also have Mari being grabbed by two people and Rita is watching. Lou Kelly is then pointing at someone and saying, no spoilers. No idea what this means, but it's very clever how they added it into this final season. And we also have Judy there too, and I have a feeling that Judy is going to switch sides halfway through this season, and Judy is going to join Lou and the rest of her crew. We also see Rita on the outside, and then she's coming back into the prison, and we see a really lush scene where Ruby and Rita are reunited. I mean, look at Jake. Even Jake is smiling there in the background. I'm guessing Jake is probably grateful to Rita for everything that she did to help during the siege, because Vera and, you know, her big pregnant bump were taken hostage in that siege, so maybe Jake is grateful to Rita. We also see a scene with Boomer and Gavin, and it looks like things are about to hot up for these two. It looks like that they are both in a conjugal visit, so will Boomer finally get her all-time dream and fall pregnant? I'd like to think that she would fall pregnant, but I think with all these fight scenes that Boomer's going to be involved in, I can't see it happening. I've got a feeling it's going to fall through. We also see a bit more of this scene where Boomer is kicking someone on the floor. Boomer is saying something like, "I will never forgive you," and starts to kick the crap out of this person. So I'm guessing that this is probably Judy that Boomer is kicking, which is why I'm now thinking that Judy will switch sides in order to try and get protection from Lou. We also see Lou Kelly putting a bowl of food onto Boomer's head. I'm assuming it's porridge or custard or something, but these two just really do not like each other at all. We then see the scene again where Judy is walking through the yard, but as she's walking we see Rita watching her. So I'm guessing that Judy is going to switch sides when it all comes out that it was Judy who attacked Ali, and everyone is just going to be shocked. But then I do reckon Lou will be doing some serious damage of her own when she finds out that Judy stole the phone and the money. I don't know, I'm guessing that if Judy does switch sides and joins Lou and her crew, Judy will tell Lou or confirm that it was Ali who stole the phone and put all the blame onto Ali. We also have another scene with Judy of Judy saying, "I bet you're so disappointed," to Anne Reynolds. So these two are just going to be playing some serious games with each other this year. I think maybe Judy is saying this to Anne because maybe if Lou does take Judy into the crew, then of course Anne is going to be pissed off because Anne created this crew with Lou Kelly. So yeah, I think this is probably what that is. We then have a scene where poor Mari is being choked once again. I shouldn't laugh, but I mean, I'm surprised Mari hasn't lost her voice after all the throttling that she's been going through these last 2 seasons. No idea who's doing this to Mari. I pretty much think at this stage, just take your pick. It could be any one of them. We also have a scene where Lou Kelly smacks Mari in the face, and look at those new jackets. So remember in this scene where I thought Judy was maybe leaving the prison because I thought she wasn't in prison uniform? Well, now I can see it's just one of these new jackets, and they've obviously been introduced after the teal hoodies were removed after Anne Reynolds' arrival last year. Now another reason why I think Judy is going to switch sides and join Lou Kelly's crew is because of this behind the scenes footage. You can see Judy and Lou together looking through a window of one of the cells. Also, I could be wrong, or it might just be the lighting, but it looks like Judy has a bruise on her head here, so I really hope that this is the person that Boomer is kicking, and this is why Judy has a few marks on her face. We've also got a few behind the scenes footage of Anne and Judy. This could be part of the scene where Anne has Judy chained to something and Anne is beating the crap out of Judy with a baton. We also have a scene where the women are all giving Boomer their dessert, so this might just be after Ali gives Boomer the top dog's job, or it could even be that Boomer finally gets the respect of the women maybe later on towards the end of the season, who knows. We have this clip of Ruby in a cell and she looks around the door but then pulls back, and she's looking a little bit worried, like either she is hearing something that she shouldn't, or she's in someone else's unit, maybe Lou Kelly's trying to find something. Right then, it's now time to move on to new character Eve Wilder. So before we delve in, when I saw this clip, it basically confirmed to me that it's 100% Eve Wilder. She is the one who is smashing Jake in the back of the head in this scene, definitely. So we learn a little bit more about Eve Wilder, and she has the nickname of Nanny Wilder. And Jake forms a friendship with Eve because Eve, she runs an online blog about parenting tips, and at one point Jake even touches Eve's wrist in quite a flirtatious way, and he even says to her that she's as fabulous as they say. So I'm wondering now, is Jake really actually taking a fancy to Eve Wilder? And are these two actually going to hook up at some point in the season? Maybe Eve will use this to her advantage, and maybe these two will make out, and then Eve will use that moment to then hit Jake in the back of the head for whatever reason. We find out that there is a litany of deaths behind Eve Wilder's character, and Eve also forms a bond with Joan Ferguson. At one point, Joan and Eve are in a cell together, and Eve tells Joan Joan that this guy once tried to make her feel special, but it was all just because he wanted to fuck her and then reject her. So Joan asks Eve, did she punish him? And Eve's reply is, she just stabbed him in the heart. And then Joan's face just says it all. You can see how much Joan likes Eve. These two are both a pair of psychopaths, and they're gonna get on very well. Pamela reveals that Joan and Eve have a shared past, and that a few things need to be put to rest. So I'm wondering what is this shared past? Maybe it's something to do with Channing, or something to do with Ferguson's father maybe. It's very interesting, but I'm so excited to see Joan and Eve plotting their evil little plans together. I think these two could play a big hand with the huge storyline happening towards the end of the season. I am so flipping excited. So guys, that's all the screenshots from the documentary that I wanted to share with all of you guys today. So what did you think? What did you think of the documentary? Have you seen it yet? What are your thoughts on Eve Wilder? Let me know all your comments and theories underneath this video. Okay guys, well it's now time for some comment replies. So we have Nad Mac. Wentworth 10 PM on 5-star on Tuesday week. Buzzing is not the world. Yes, I'm so glad I found this comment and included it in this video because I'd completely forgotten. Wentworth is going to air in the UK the same day as Australia, the 24th of August. Now, obviously, it's going to air in Australia about 10 hours before the UK, so there is a little bit of a gap, but there's not much of a wait for UK fans. So yeah, thank you for your comment and thank you for reminding me to include it in this video. And we have King Les. I realised something when I watched a little clip where Mari was holding her neck and gasping in bed. Could her being hanged be a dream? King Les, you might be onto something there. Oh my god, you could be. Oh my god, I didn't... Do you know what? You just blow me away. Okay, so, do you know the scene where we see Mari being hanged by the women? Maybe that is Mari having a nightmare and then she wakes up throttling herself. Maybe she's gonna have these dreams. Maybe she's having premonitions of her own fate. You never know. Great observation there, King Les, and great theory. Thank you for your comment. And we have Randy Kratz. What if Rita was the cop that put Luke Kelly in prison and as soon as she sees Rita, she knows her identity? You could be onto something there, Wendy, that could explain why these two aren't going to be getting on very well. But then come to think of it, she couldn't have been the cop that arrested her and Reb last year because Rita was in protective custody. So I'm guessing you mean maybe when Lou was in prison all those years ago, back in season 2 or whenever it was. But yeah, thank you for your comment, Wendy. And we have Terry Weir. Hi Craig, this trailer just gave me goosebumps. Lou Kelly saying that she'll take Rita down, not a chance. Can't wait for the final season to start. 100% Terry, I cannot wait either. I mean, it's very bittersweet for all of us, but I'm just so excited. I'm really enjoying all these trailers and these little clips and these documentaries, but I know what you mean. I just want to see it now. But it's not too much long to wait. Thank you for your commentary, and thank you all for your amazing comments. Keep them coming, guys, because I love hearing your thoughts and theories. Okay, guys, well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you're able to digest everything from this video. I know it was a little bit full on and full of information. Go grab yourself a cuppa and have a little bit of a chill out. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you all again next time.